Hello, bonjour, namaste, ni hao, and ohio, everybody. What is going on? Galeriot here. Welcome back to the YouTube channel once again for another video on a Danmachi game. And today, we're not talking about Danmachi Memoria Freeze or Battle Chronicle. Instead, we're going back to about 5 years ago, and we're talking about Danmachi Orario Rhapsodia. This game came out in 2017, but shut down within a year and a half in 2019. So what happened? Why did it shut down so quickly? What were the issues? And why am I talking about it today? Well, we'll talk about that in due time. But of course, if you guys go on to enjoy this video, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and of course, leave a comment down below whether or not you've even seen this game. And if you have seen it and maybe you've played it, let me know what you guys think about it. I'm very curious to see what you guys have to say down below. Now, what is Danmachi Orario Rhapsodia? Why am I talking about it today? Well, I thought I would talk about it today because, of course, Battle Chronicle has just been announced. And, of course, this is going to be another situation where we're going to have 3 Danmachi games alive at the same time, with, of course, Cross Historia still being alive, Memoria Freeze still going strong-ish, and then of course Battle Chronicle releasing later in the spring season basically. So what happened the last time we had 3 games? Well, one of them died. I think that one of the biggest reasons why Danmachi Orario Rhapsodia died, which it only lasted from November 2017 to May 2019, which is basically a year and 6 months of it being alive, and that's it. So what happened? Why did it die? I think the biggest reason is the fact that there were too many similar Danmachi games. If you look at Cross Historia's gameplay, you look at Danmachi Memoria Freeze's gameplay and Orario Rhapsodia's gameplay, they're similar in nature. They have their differences, but they're similar in nature. I mean, let's have a look at Danmachi Orario Rhapsodia's gameplay, right? So this is obviously what we have right now, obviously here, and you can already see very similar style, turn-based system, and that was the big thing, right? Is that if you have 3 games that are all turn-based systems, right? Why would you play the other ones, right? Maybe you might play 2 of them at most, but then why would you play the 3rd one? At that point, you're doing the same thing over and over again. So there's realistically no value in playing a game that's consistently the same. And as a result, it unfortunately failed. It's as simple as that. And it's why I think Battle Chronicle will actually succeed. This is not going to be the same situation as 5 years ago, where there were 3 turn-based gacha games, 3 turn-based Danmachi gacha games, and this time around we have 2 turn-based gacha games and 1 action RPG gacha game. It's going to attract a completely different audience, and well, depending on how good the gameplay actually is, but it will hopefully attract a completely different audience. So there is that. However, there were some things that Danmachi Orario Rhapsodia did that was actually better than, I would say, Danmachi Memoria Freeze or Cross Historia, and that was its story, which we'll come on to in a second. But I will talk about some other things that I had an issue with when it came to Danmachi Orario Rhapsodia. Danmachi Orario Rhapsodia was only available in Japan and on Yahoo Japan. Now, this isn't necessarily the worst thing that could happen to any gacha game, to be quite honest, because if you look at browser games, there are other browser games. Cross Historia is one of them, Grand Blue Fantasy is one of them. There's many other browser-based gacha games already available in Japan and globally. However, the problem was that this was specifically on Yahoo Japan. Now, the thing you have to remember is that there is a huge difference between Yahoo Japan and the Yahoo that we know in the West. It's a huge difference, massive difference. Look up online and you just search up Yahoo Japan and you look up, information about it. It's completely different. You know, you've got stuff like eBay inbuilt into Yahoo Japan. So they have their own eBay, basically their own auctioning site is available on Yahoo Japan. They have a sort of Q&A thing on Yahoo Japan as well. There's a lot of different things that are available strictly on Yahoo Japan that makes it so much more popular than what it is, than its popularity in the West. So that is also not really a problem, but the problem ends up being that, one, your game is already cannibalized by the other gacha games, and the advantage that the other gacha games have is that one is on Mobile, which is a much more popular browser game platform, because you've got Grand Blue Fantasy already available on there. You have, obviously, like I said, you have Danmachi available on there, and then now you're putting this Danmachi game on Yahoo Japan, which is a problem. And then Danmachi Memoria Freeze is available globally, which is obviously going to make it a stronger title because you are reaching out to a wider audience. You're getting more players to spend on the game and not just the Japanese audience. So that's another reason why it didn't really work as well. And then obviously you can already tell that they had issues from the get-go, because even when they started off, there was a month delay already. So this indicates that there were some issues already when it was launching, and I think they must have continued into the production of the game itself. So again, big problems there when it comes to the game being alive basically for a longer period of time, because if there's internal development issues, then obviously externally you have issues in trying to attract an audience. It's not a great combination for any game, even especially when it's a live service game, So what exactly was the story, and why do I like it so much? Well, the story was kind of unique in the regards of you were basically a god. The main player, that was you, was a god, and you started a familiar. You would gather adventures with Emma Flores, one of the OCs of this game, and trust me, this game had a lot of original characters, which, by the way, that I think is one of the best things about this game. Like I said, was being able to create a familiar and having original characters join your familiar, and you nurturing and growing these adventures to become stronger than the other familiars potentially. Obviously, the game was obviously just like the other games, Across the Story and Memoria Freeze. The game was supervised by Omori Sensei, and it had a lot of content in the game. Unfortunately, that was also another issue, was that the story was only voiced in some areas. Like when I say some areas, only Emma was the voiced character in the game, which of course when you compare to Danmachi Memoria Freeze, which has led to Bell's VA to get a Guinness World Record, it's a big difference. Of course. So yeah, that was one thing. So basically, like I said, the biggest issue I felt that this game had was the fact that, well, it was just trying to eat up into Across the Story's position, which was the first Danmachi game, by the way. It was the first Danmachi game. And then we had, of course, Memoria Freeze, which was the second Danmachi game, basically. But it was also in a much better position because it was a global game. It was a worldwide release. Well, not simultaneous release, but it was a worldwide release inevitably. And people could play it no matter what. No matter where they were in the world, they could access it. So that is another reason why I feel Orario Rhapsodia failed. Now, I'm just gonna keep some clips up on screen right now to just play while we're here, because even I haven't seen this in so long that I've completely forgotten how like the summon animation looks and how the gameplay even was. But I do believe this game had so much potential. Like I said at the start of this video, I think this game had so much potential. I think the concept of this game was its strongest point when it came to the story. I think that foundation of being somebody who can start a familiar, or you're an original character who's just entering Orario, I think could be an insanely great concept for any future Danmachi video game, be it a console game or a gacha game. I think a console game would be better for that concept, in my personal opinion, as well, because it would just mean that it would be a set story, but you would at least have a way to go about it, and it would be your path. Maybe it would be multiple choice, sort of like choose your own path kind of system, right? I think that would be also something that would be fantastic. But of course, I don't know if that will ever happen now because of, just generally the release is happening and stuff. Plus, of course, I have another video coming out inevitably about a future another Danmachi game that I know a lot of people had their own thoughts on, including myself. So we'll come on to that, and it'll be a proper like me playing the game for the first time. You guys might already have guessed what I'm talking about, but yeah, I want to make a video on that at some point. So yeah, I mean, I think the foundation for this game was there, and I think it was a good concept. It's just a shame that it had so many things that kind of just, it clashed with its own other titles, right? Its own IP. It's fine if it is fine if the game was going up against other titles of a similar nature, right? Let's say this game was going up against Grand Blue Fantasy or Fate Grand Order. It would be understandable why it failed at that point as well. But this could have been entirely avoided had it not been going up against its own competitors, its own teammates. It was internal fighting going on basically at that point. You know what I mean? So that was another issue that was with this game. In all honesty, it was such an issue. but outside of that, it never really did anything that could have proved it to be different as well, right? Cross Historia had such good art and slightly different things as well to it, and the fact that it was released earlier obviously gave it a bigger advantage, because people aren't going to jump from one browser game to another game, or even one gacha game to another gacha game, because why would they? You have that sunk cost fallacy there. You've sunk in time, which means that nobody is going to abandon their game no matter what, because you've invested time and money into it. So that's another reason why Orario Rhapsodia failed, I feel. So a couple of different reasons, couple of different thought processes. This was a bit of a shorter video because I wanted to just talk about it a little bit and just go over it. Let me know what you guys think, of course, down below in the comments as well. I'm curious to see what you guys have to say down below. But yeah, this game could have been so much more, man. I like the concept. Like I said, I think it was a great concept. It was just a shame that it got let down by the fact that, well, it was a turn-based gacha game, and it was already competing with 2 other Danmachi games. I don't think this is going to happen with Battle Chronicle, like I said, because it's a completely different market it's aiming for. It's a completely different style, gameplay that it's providing. It's got a completely different style of gameplay, and I don't think we're going to have that issue with Battle Chronicle, because I know that some people in the comments were actually concerned that Memoria Freeze was going to shut down because of this, but I don't think so. And even if a game were to shut down, I do believe it would probably be Cross Historia, in all honesty. I don't think Memoria Freeze would shut down. But anyways, let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. I'm curious to see what you guys have to say in the comments below. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys next time. Bye bye, everybody.